Next contestant, Rich Rodman. Unfortunate events, Rich Rodman.
It was the height of World War II in 1944, and Ray Richmond was leading a troop of 6 soldiers into battle for their first time. Every one of these soldiers, including Ray, was not there by choice. They were there by orders of the United States Army. They were all drafted. And their mission was fairly simple. They were to secure the Eastern Front, stop the Nazis from moving any further east at this point. And on their first mission, it was a very straightforward mission. They were to clear one street, go in every single house, and make sure that the houses were not being occupied. And they had extremely correct intel that this first house was, in fact, being occupied by a group of Nazi soldiers. So Ray Richmond leads his 6 troops into this house, weapons drawn, and starts their standard clearing process. They clear the first floor and realize that the Nazis have to be in the basement. So they head down in the basement, and as soon as the last soldier enters the basement, Ray hears the front door open. And he realizes right then this was not a process to go in and clear the house. This was an ambush. This was faulty intel to kill American soldiers. So he sees a 3x5 window in the top right corner of that basement, bashes it out, and starts boosting up his soldiers one by one until it came down to Ray and one other soldier. And Ray said, "Boost me up." So the soldier boosts Ray up, and when Ray turns around to grab that soldier, he hears pop, pop, pop. And Ray realized that day, and he took it with him to his grave, that he killed that person. And that's what he truly believed. And that would haunt him. 2 weeks later, Ray ran into a series of unfortunate events. Him and one of his soldiers was doing routine stop and checks on a road in northern Germany. They were to stop every car and check the car. He would then actually be taken captive by a group of Nazi soldiers hiding in the back of a pickup truck. And Ray would spend the next 30 minutes blindfolded, gagged, in the back of a pickup truck. He was taken to a barn in the middle of nowhere. And for the next 6 days, Ray Richmond would go through vigorous torture. He was a senior officer in the army with access to senior level intelligence. And the Nazis knew this. So they used a series of torture methods to extract this information from him. One of them was sleep deprivation. Anytime Ray started to nod off, a Nazi soldier would take the butt of their gun and jam it in his face. He was hit so many times in his face that he ended up losing his eyesight. Both of his cheeks were broken, his jaw was broken, his nose was broken. He was unrecognizable when he came back from war. He was bound with his hands together, hanging from a hook on the side of this barn. And Nazi soldiers would take turns just hitting him as hard as they could in the chest, the face, the stomach, and his genitalia. He would leave with 6 broken ribs, and he was hit so many times in his genitalia that he would actually have to have one of his testicles removed. 6 days into this, the American soldiers got word of where Ray Richmond was, and they went and rescued him. And when Ray speaks about these experiences, he rarely mentioned the torture. What he was so fixated on and so focused on was the frostbite. Because the first thing that those Nazi soldiers did was strip him clean of everything except for his shoes. No blanket, nothing to cover him from the elements. And this was in the middle of winter. So this barn that had holes in the walls, holes in the ceiling, would otherwise to us in a photo be majestic, seeing the snow fall through this roof, was hitting him like a ton of bricks, every single flake. The wind coming through the side, slamming into his body, was pure torture. And when the nurses took a look at him and started to cure him, they told him, you're never going to feel a limb again. Your arms, your legs, your genitalia, your ears, your nose, it's all gone. The part that he describes are his shoes, because his shoes were left on. And the nurse had to peel his shoes like a banana off of his feet, and all of his skin came off with that. Ray Richmond was a Purple Heart owner. He was a civil rights activist. He was a father. He was a grandfather. And in all senses of the word, he was a true war hero. And it's for those reasons and many more that I really consider my grandfather, Ray Richmond, to be the best person I've ever come in contact with. Madam Toastmaster.